Soan Ngo, and I was born in Bạc Liêu, which is a really south country, and I was born in 1962.
You mean
63. 1963.
Oh, 63.
Well, like she said, after the communists took over the country, they have currency change quite often. So they try to make the socialist system work, I guess, that everybody's become equal. However, the hardship starts setting in. So my uncle is a pretty wealthy individual and live in a city where she's from in Saigon, that have come to the farm where we live and have talked to my parents about, you know, our futures and things like that. So, and I don't know how they know America or other countries better than Vietnam, but they have established a relationship with my uncle and said that, okay, I want my two older kids gonna go with you to America or somewhere other than Vietnam. And I didn't know better, but I just listened to him, and then we escaped with the boat. And actually we got busted in the first trips, and then by then it's like 1976, 76, 77. The government is pretty corrupted. I think start selling people by collecting gold. So you give them like 6 bars of gold or something like that, they'll let you go into this refugee boat that you can go with wherever you want to go to. So that's how my uncle paid for it. And we get into the boat and we just left the country. And we got, after 15 days or so, we went out of views.
On the ocean.
Yeah, on the ocean. So. We're just floating. And then what, I think, I'm not quite remember, but I'm pretty certain that we got rescued by one of the American tanker boat. So they kind of dragged it into Indonesia, in the refugee camp there. And I would stay there for 13 months. And we moved 3 different camps. And then we had 250 people in the boat. 2 died, and then the rest of people go to like Canada, Australia, so other countries, and we have 46 left at the end. I call it the lucky 46 because that 46 people will come to the U.S. Yeah. I was 13. I wouldn't do it again though.
I guess, you know, because, I mean, that is not that many people die, but from other story, I don't know if you heard, but a lot of people die in the sea. Which is like, so that was...
So I'm pretty lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. So the boat, it had fuel to go somewhere, or did you have any...
You want to describe how the boat actually looked like?
Okay, you have to... The boat, it doesn't look like a boat here in the U.S. It's made out of wood.
Like a raft?
Yes. Well, no. It's like a... It's you probably see Chinese movie. You probably see Bruce Lee movie. Those boats in Hong Kong, you see how they have make out of wood, and there's 2 decks. We stay in the bottom deck, and we sit like this. Completely filled the entire bottom. I didn't see the ocean until we got rescued. And so it's 24 meters long. It's not that big, but it's packed with people in there. And what I heard was midway out to the sea, they start throwing things up the sea because it's getting too heavy. So they start throwing luggage and things off the sea. So actually, we actually end up with nothing when we get on land. It's like you have nothing left. Completely nothing. So.
And you ran out of food?
We ran out of everything.
Including water.
Everything. We ran out of everything. I remember that after we got rescued onto the tanker, and I'm sure they're not prepared to rescue somebody that big, and so when we get on their ship, they make us sit in one spot, and you know how the tanker with the back part is completely empty, and we're up there, and I'm sure they try to see who's is not feeling well. As a lot of people at that time is pretty weak, and a lot are really sick, and so they make us sit there for about maybe an hour or so, and they start serving us with warm milk and sandwiches, but a piece of sandwich bread about this big. You know how sandwich they cut into 3 or 4, and I know that's the best piece of sandwich I've ever tasted in my life. But after the next day, they transported a lot of food and a lot of fruits and stuff, and you can eat whatever you want, and just like completely spoil us. We're so lucky for them. After everybody left, everybody get onto the ship already, and they tied the boat, which is the little boat that we have compared to the tanker, is just tiny. And they dragged it for a little bit, and the whole boat just burst into little pieces, so they cut the rope and just let it go into the sea.
So all that stuff is on the boat.
Everything's, nobody have anything left. It's just a pair of clothes what you have on you, that's it. And I'm sure there's some smaller jewelry that people that have in the hands that they kept. And that's about it. But they'll lose that too when they get up to the land. Well, when you get into Indonesia, you have to go to a Navy checkpoint. And I don't know what they are searching for, but anything that you have is valuable, they took. So there's nothing left. Like you wear a ring like this, will take it. So they took everything. Indonesia. It's called Tanjung Pinang. I think it's P-A-N-A-N, I think. And then we went to, after a while, it started filling up, become more ship boats coming in. And it was inside more like a storage of pipelines. I think it belonged to maybe one of the oil companies. When that filled up, they moved us to a real concentration camp, which is Galan, and they have about 60,000 Vietnamese there. It's a big concentration, big refugee camps. They're big enough that they build temples and cafes and things like that.
I guess 60,000 is a lot of people, so.
That's like a small town.
Yeah, it's quite, because I guess as people come into different little islands, Indonesia is just a bunch of little islands, so they try to put on one area.
When you got there, who was there to help you? Who was there to give you food or clothes?
Well, again, thanks to the American, because the American Red Cross is right there. They, I don't know, they just found us.
I guess, like you say, I think about that time, even before we were legally can leave Vietnam, so this boat people already established as soon as the war ended. Yeah, because we also see a lot of things that communists do.
It's very harsh, but
pretty hard.
We actually get sponsored by to come to the U.S. Then we move all 46 of us to go to Singapore, where they, like you said, a lot of immunization, health checking, make sure that we are well fed, and make sure that we are not having any disease that carry into the countries, things like that. So we are there for a couple of months, just to make sure that everything's okay. And it was quite nice, because Singapore is really pretty. It's nice and day compared to the camp that we in Indonesia. We get to stay inside more like a community house. Instead of refugee camp is made out of cell-made little living place, like you built your own, some, you know, you gathering an old blanket, people who left and left you the pot and pans and clothing and stuff that you stay behind. So we are collecting those, and that's how the refugee camp was. But then in Singapore it was quite nice. You get to have your own bed and things like that.
So you were in Singapore for a couple of months.
Yeah.
And
then we get on airplanes. I don't know what airline that we're going with, but we flew to America. I'm sure it's in the northeast because it's freezing cold. Like they're passing out jacket for us, but I can see snow outside, and at that time we still have a heater block. I don't know if you see that. I'm not too old for you now. The heater block is not central heat, so I was like huddled over those heating block, and it's still really cold. And we were there for a few hours, and then we flew into that Amarillo, which is freezing cold. Amarillo. I don't remember we have a stopping. I think we go straight from somewhere to Amarillo.
So in a way, Texas is our first state, so we would come from Vietnam.
It's during the early January months too. Yes, because the Red Cross give you a starting package, which is little clothes and their shampoos and other personal necessity. So we all have this IMS package, immigration's something package. And they all look like they know it. So that's how we get started.
Okay.
It's good and bad. The bad part is you get homesick a lot. Yeah, it's tough to describe. The good part is you have no choice. You gotta do it. So for me, it's like you either do it or you die. You can put it that way. So it forces you to learn English and the way of life here very quickly. You got to learn it. It's just like no way. So for me, it's pretty similar. We have help from the government getting a welfare system as well, but we don't use them for a very short time. And the reason I didn't use them is because of price of things. Because we went to the grocery. I don't know how is it now, but at that time you can only buy certain things. So I remember one trip we went there, and my sister and I went to the store and we bought some paper products and some other foods and things like that. And the checkout lady kind of get a little upset at us because we don't have money to pay for the paper product. Food stamp doesn't cover that at that time. So we were already actually looking for a job. And then we come home and said, we really don't want to use this. So I went and looked really, really hard, and I found a job at Church's Fried Chicken. I started learning how to cook chicken, and I didn't speak any English at that time. Not enough to understand everything the manager wanted me to do, but she is super nice. And she took me to the back, and chicken came not pre-cut. So you had to cut the chicken into 8 pieces with a chainsaw. And I went and just do it, and she did it, and said, okay, you hired. So I got a job at Church's Fried Chicken for many years, and I started out as minimum wage. At that time, it was only $3.20-something. The IMS, the Immigration's Office, have provided one individual, also a Vietnamese man, I'm sure a Vietnamese speaker, he can communicate with us, take us first. I don't know how this works, but I'm sure he gave an allowance to take us to shopping. So I remember we went to Kmart. He said, you got to fill up this car completely, whatever you want, just one time. So we pick up like tennis shoes, shoes with little brown straps. And then clothing and whatever you want, fill it up. So my sister, I have one basket full, and sister have one basket full, and he went and paid for it. So that's how we get help from the immigration's office to get letters started. And they give us free rent for a little while. I'm sure it's a short period of time, and then we move out from that little housing and go to on our own. Because you are sharing with a lot of other refugee people living there in Amarillo, and so we decided to move out to a smaller apartments housing. So we did some help. It's really nice.